blessed, you know what I mean? Happy to be alive, happy for day we can enjoy some good music, you know what I mean? I feel proud of 450 because one of my favorite upcoming artists, was one of my favorite upcoming artists. I've seen established now 3 years in the industry, and you know, I'm an artist, I love a body of work, so the same, actually I made this step to go do this, I feel proud and feel good, you know what I mean?
Things might just end up. Hey, me run from me while you don't play. When me cross, so then I cross me. Okay, you won't find me back if you lost me.
Hi, Shania, how are you feeling tonight?
Good, I'm excited. You know, it's a new project, something to look forward to. Pieces of Me from 450. After the special invites, I definitely look forward to being here to, you know, just to take in that ambience that is here right now, and I'm glad I did because it's an exciting experience.
Pieces of Me by 450 will be released on May 30th. Thank you for watching eLive. I am Navinia Beckford.
Thanks so much for joining us for CVM News Afternoon. It's Wednesday, July 9, 2025. I'm Curlin Brown. We begin with this update. The police have confirmed one of the 2 men killed during confrontation early Tuesday morning in Limehall, St. Anne was a wanted fugitive, a 36-year-old Ricardo Hemmings, otherwise called Black Oil of Jerusalem Mountain in Grange Hill, Westmoreland. The other man, 29-year-old Jahmari Campbell, was also of that Westmoreland address. Now, as our newsroom reported, based on information from the Constabulary Force's communication network, acting on intelligence, a team of lawmen went to a house when they encountered the armed men, and during a confrontation, both were shot. The report also states the recovery of a Taurus SA .45 pistol, along with a magazine containing 3 rounds. The matter has been reported to the Inspectorate and Professional Standards Oversight Bureau, IPROBE, as well as the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM. Over 500 sticks of dynamite were recovered by the police during a targeted raid on July 7 in Yala, St. Thomas. Reports from the Morant Bay Police are about 1 p.m. A premises was searched and explosives were found. 3 men have been arrested. We will have more in news at 7. In the development now, the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, the KSAMC, on Tuesday approved a resolution for the Bureau of Standards to test the water quality being supplied by the National Water Commission, the NWC. Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, told the council meeting he is still unable to meet with the NWC and the Minister in charge of Water, Matthew Samuda, despite several attempts to do so. There's been public outrage regarding some water samples from the system operated by the NWC, which were tested positive for coliform bacteria.
I am using this forum publicly to say to Minister Samuda and the NWC that under the leadership, under my leadership, I will at all times be willing to entertain them in a constructive discussion in the interest of the people of Kingston St. Andrew. I deliberately, as indicated, didn't want to make this type of statement until after it was completed the vote because I didn't want to influence the vote in no form.
Private and public sector leaders from across the Caribbean who met on Tuesday to discuss the future of regional trade under the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, left with the consensus of moving forward in unity. Raymond Morrison has more.
Morning broke with an agenda from private sector stakeholders, a call for deeper regional collaboration. The Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, hosted its Regional Private Sector Leadership Breakfast, uniting stakeholders from across the Caribbean to tackle pressing issues surrounding trade, shipping costs, and economic integration.
The United States America First policy is a wake-up call. The first thing that we experienced was this threat of increasing shipping costs by the U.S. Trade Representative, saying that they were going to charge additional fees to shipping companies. We had Zoom calls with over 500 people on it to discuss this issue. We were able to spend time with heads in special meetings to brief them, wrote papers, made lots of appeals, and we dodged a bullet, right? Shipping costs to this region were spared an extra $1,500 to $2,500 per container by the collective efforts in this room. And I raise that example as really important for the paradigm of collaboration that we can have and forge going forward.
PSOJ President Metris Yaga agrees, underscoring that now, more than ever, the region must turn inward and support its own.
We need to look to each other more. Businesses must start seeing regional neighbors as partners, not just competitors. Whether it's a Jamaican manufacturer teaming up with a Bayesian distributor or a St. Lucian tech firm building solutions with a Trinidadian developer, these are the kinds of linkages that drive regional value chains. We've seen it work in other trading blocks, and we too must make it work.
And with Jamaica's Prime Minister being recently appointed Chair of CARICOM, Dr. Andrew Holness reinforced regional unity is key to unlocking true economic potential.
Jamaica remains steadfast in our belief that this is essential for achieving economies of scale, improving competitiveness, and transforming lives and livelihoods for our people. And at this point, I would say that, yes, individually our economies are small, but collectively, the sum of our parts are greater than the whole.
It's understood that Tuesday's breakfast served as a platform for dialogue on regional trade reform, with leaders from both public and the private sectors sharing perspectives on the way forward. Raymond Morrison, CVM News.
The opposition People's National Party, the PNP, is renewing its call for inclusive development through housing solutions tailored for persons with disabilities. The party hosted a forum under the theme Housing for All, No One Left Behind, as part of what it describes as its wider push for equality and access. Opposition leader Mark Golding says his party is committed to building a Jamaica that caters to everyone, while criticizing the JLP's administration for a delay in implementing the Disabilities Act.
We are indeed the party that signed the UN Convention for Persons with Disabilities. We were the first country in the Western Hemisphere to do so. And we enacted the Disabilities Act when we were last in government, which the present government took 7 years to bring into effect, having passed through Parliament while we were in government. So we are very mindful of the community of persons with disabilities. We have in our leadership ranks, we have people like Senator Floyd Morris, himself a person with a disability. And of course, we have Maureen Webber, who is very involved in our campaign. And she is somebody who is a warrior for the cause of persons with disabilities. So they keep us focused on ensuring that all policies that we roll out are tuned and sensitive to the needs of persons with disabilities.
Other speakers at the forum included Senator Floyd Morris and Shadow Minister for Persons with Disabilities and Inclusion, Patricia Duncan Sutherland. Of course, CVM News will have more details in news at 7. Stay where you are. We will continue with news at noon in just a moment.
Ashman's Equipment, the new name in forklift sales and rentals in Jamaica. Top quality, low prices, fleet discounts available, 12-month warranty, free service parts, daily rentals, crazy cheap. Ashman's Equipment, same forklift, better deals.
This July, the world turns to Jamaica
for the Caribbean Investment Forum, the region's premier investment event.
From July 29 to 31, the Montego Bay Convention Center comes alive
with global thought leaders, exclusive investment opportunities, high-impact deal-making sessions.
Are you ready to invest in the Caribbean's future? Book now at CaribbeanInvestmentForum.com.
Let's shape a smart, green, connected Caribbean. July 29 to 31, Montego Bay. Powered by Caribbean Export, Government of Jamaica, Jampro, EU, CARICOM, Republic Bank, and IDB.
Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins, and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's a live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yes.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
Thanks for staying with us. The effects of the interactions between passionate political patriotic supporters have caused conversations between political experts on whether the right decision has been made by the government regarding the office of the political ombudsman. Former PNP Member of Parliament for South East St Andrew and former General Secretary Maxine Henry Wilson, a former Education Minister and former Member of Parliament for Central Kingston Ronald Thwaites, and President of the Jamaica Evangelical Alliance Bishop Dr. Alvin Bailey were part of the discussions on CVM's Lead Story Tuesday.
The once active office of the political ombudsman, which historically enforced the political code of conduct, has been vacant since November 2022. Though legislation passed earlier this year transferred its duties to the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, the ECJ, critics argue the move has diluted the office's independence and moral authority. So where do we go from here? And what will this mean once the general election is called?
Any political situation, as civilized as they may be in other jurisdictions, you do have some of those tensions. That's the nature of politics, the nature of power, right?
It costs a lot of money, could be dealt with in another way, and is merely a ruse, because people obviously want the freedom to block out. We've seen the signs of it, and we should reverse that bad law as quickly as possible.
To have an independent body of integrity, assessing your conduct at election is important. Just the matter of indicating whether or not your behavior is approved of is something that I think should be desirable for somebody on the campaign trail.
We have more information now on what our newsroom told you on Tuesday about a major shake-up in Caribbean media as Digicel shuts down two of its most recognizable brands. Loop News with immediate effect and regional sports powerhouse Sportsmax set to air its final broadcast in just weeks. CVM's Raheem White picks up on that story.
It's the end of an era for regional, digital and sports media. Telecom giants Digicel today confirmed it has shut down Loop News effective immediately, marking the sudden end of a platform that, for over a decade, redefined online news coverage across the Caribbean. Launched in 2014, Loop had become a popular source for breaking news, lifestyle, politics, and entertainment. Its newsroom, teams across Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, and more now disband. Digicel also announced that Sportsmax will wind down operations with its final broadcast scheduled for August 8. The network, which first hit the airwaves in 2002, had been a staple for regional sports fans, broadcasting everything from Caribbean Premier League cricket to champs, Premier League football, and Olympic coverage. The closure comes as Digicel pivots away from media and focuses on enterprise IT solutions, including cybersecurity and cloud services. That transition was accelerated following its recent acquisition of regional tech firm Simtai. The company says affected employees will be supported through transition packages and legal protocols, but the sudden exit of two major content hubs has left viewers, fans, and journalists alike stunned. As the countdown begins to Sportsmac's final sign-off and the Loop's pages to go quiet, the region's media landscape faces a new chapter without two of its most recognizable players. Raheem White for CVM News.
We will continue right after this.
Hey everybody, I'm Yendi, and this is Odyssey with Yendi. In this space, we connect with some of your favorite people as they share their journeys. Here we have some unfiltered conversations as we deep dive into their inspirations, motivations, and experiences to inspire our own life journey.
Odyssey with Yendi, brought to you by Grace and Singer.
Attention registered voters! Remember to collect your renewed voter ID card before the upcoming general election. If you registered to vote in 2016 or after and did not get your new ID card, it may have been automatically renewed. Simply visit your EOJ constituency office to collect your voter ID card. Contact the Electoral Office of Jamaica at 888-991-VOTE or 922-0425-9 for more information.
The time by Subaru is 12:15. Living
We welcome you back with international news. A deadly crackdown on student-led protests in Bangladesh last year was authorized by then Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Now, according to audio of one of her phone calls verified by BBC, in which Hasina says she authorized her security forces to, quote, use lethal weapons, end quote, against protesters and, quote, wherever they find them, they will shoot, end quote. Up to 1,400 people died in last summer's unrest, according to UN investigators. We get more from Al Jazeera.
August 5th, 2024, Dhaka, the capital city of Bangladesh. Police are firing on protesters, demanding the resignation of the government. A key flashpoint in Dhaka, Jahmari, became the epicenter of the protests. Analysing hundreds of videos, photos and eyewitness accounts, BBC Eye has found that more than 50 people were killed that day, far more than first reported. It was one of the worst incidents of police violence in Bangladesh's history. Among the protesters was Miraj, a young student who was filming outside a police station when the police opened fire. These are his final moments, captured on camera. As anger erupted, protesters stormed the station, killing at least 6 police officers.
যাওয়ার সাথে সাথে আমি দেখতে পাই যে কয়েকটা স্তূপের মধ্যে আমার বন্ধু পড়ে আছে তো আমি দেখে আর নিজেকে রাখতে পারি না আমি নিজের কন্ট্রোল হারায় ফেলাই যে একটা বন্ধু আমার সাথে ছিল এতক্ষণ মারা গেছে
The killings followed 36 days of protests against a quota law that limited government jobs.
About 30% of jobs were set aside for the families of veterans who fought in the country's War of Independence.
But the protests were met with a brutal police crackdown, ordered by the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. This leaked recording, which has been verified by the BBC, reveals the Prime Minister authorised security forces to use lethal weapons earlier on 18 July. The BBC has been told it's a crucial piece of evidence in the case against her. But the crackdown only inflamed the protests. And on August 5th, protesters began marching into Dhaka, to demand her resignation. That day, the army told Sheikh Hasina they could not guarantee her safety, and she fled.
I'll be back with sports in a moment.
Living in a systematic adjudication area, it's time to secure what's yours. The National Land Agency is distributing titles under its systematic land registration program. Persons in St. Elizabeth and Manchester, visit the Junction Guest House in St. Elizabeth to collect your title. In St. Catherine, we're coming to you house to house. To collect your title, bring your government-issued photo ID. If someone is collecting on your behalf, they should bring a JP certified letter and their government-issued photo ID. For more